And even before we talk about the issue of jobs and opportunities for the young people, many watching us today and others in this room with us, one would beg the question, of course, for you to get the opportunity for a job, you must have had or gone through a proper education. Truth be told, there's been a mass drive to have everybody in this country at least have the basic education through programs like universal primary education, universal secondary education. But today, the narrative seems to be begging a lot more. That you have got graduates from these programs who are unable, for the most part, to articulate anything as basic as would have been even if they hadn't been to school. In your manifesto, do you read into the concerns of today's youth who believe that the current education system is in fact a short change in what we would have expected?
Now, you talked about education. When I was in primary school myself, government schools were the best. They were the best. There were no private schools, of course, in the countryside, but only the kids that were unable were the ones who were going to the private schools. But now the opposite is the case. It is only the able that are in private schools because their parents are able, and they also realize that if they left their children in the public schools, they will go nowhere. So that also goes to the issue of the haves and the have-nots, creating a class of people who will never get out of the poverty trap. Why? Because kids whose parents have very little, they go to those primary schools. By primary 7, they are unable even to write or read, so they cannot access good secondary schools. Obviously, they cannot go to high schools that are of good quality, and they cannot go to university. So going forward for us, we need to change the curriculum, because the educational system that we have is a one which creates seekers of jobs, not creators.
So you're saying you will actually change the curriculum?
Yes. Myself, I think in my whole life I studied from government schools. Balawoli Primary School, a good government school. Kisiki College in Amtumba, up to today, a government school. Wanyange Girls School, a government school. And if I called all the OBs and OGs from Balawoli deep in Kamuli, Kisiki College in Namutumba, you will be amazed that actually these schools are producing products. So it's not per se to say that the private schools are actually more taking up people. But also, I guess you've heard about government's intervention to also get particular private schools on board to implement some of the government programs, the public-private partnership business, even in the education sector. So the whole extension of